Snow drifted lazily past the glowing neon sign of Miller's 24/7 Diner, the kind of place that smelled like frying oil, old coffee, and memories that people didn't want to keep. Inside, Christmas carols played from an ancient speaker, a cheerful sound that didn't match the exhaustion on Amber's face as she wiped down yet another table. It was Christmas Eve, the night when everyone seemed to be rushing home to warm lights and decorated trees. Everyone except her. She tried to shake the cold from her fingers, but the chill wasn't just from winter, it was from reality. Tips had been low all week, rent was due in 2 days, and she hadn't bought a single gift for her mother. Not even a Christmas card. Her apron pocket vibrated. Mom calling. Amber's heart thumped painfully. She looked toward the kitchen window where her manager, Ron, a man who seemed allergic to kindness, watched her like a hawk. He lifted a single eyebrow, warning her not to slack. Amber lifted the phone slightly. "Please," she mouthed. He sighed sharply. 2 minutes, he growled. She nodded gratefully and stepped behind the counter, pressing the phone to her ear. "Mom," she whispered, trying to sound cheerful. "Sweetheart, are you on your way home? I've set up the tree, and I made your favorite hot cocoa." "I thought maybe." Amber closed her eyes, her throat tightening. The diner lights blurred. "Mom," she said softly, I can't come home for Christmas." There was a long pause. A silence so heavy it hurt. "Oh," her mother said quietly. "I understand, honey. You're working hard. Maybe next year." Amber pressed her lips together to keep from crying. She could imagine her mother, alone in the little house that used to be filled with laughter when Dad was still alive. Since he passed, Amber had promised every year that she'd visit. And every year, something went wrong. Bills, rent, life. "Next year," Amber whispered, though the words tasted like guilt. Her mother tried to sound upbeat. "Well, we'll video call tonight, okay? I miss you, baby." "I miss you too," Amber whispered, her voice cracking. When she hung up, she leaned against the counter, swallowing her tears. A deep, steady voice broke the silence. "Are you all right, miss?" Amber startled and turned around. In the booth closest to her stood a man she recognized instantly. He came in maybe twice a year, always ordered black coffee, always tipped generously, and always sat quietly in the corner pretending to blend in even though he radiated an aura that didn't belong in a small diner. Tonight was no different. He wore a charcoal coat, perfectly tailored, and carried himself with the calm confidence of someone who had never once worried about rent. "Sorry," she said, wiping the corner of her eye quickly. "You saw that." He nodded gently. "Hard not to. I'm fine, really. Just holiday stress." He watched her for a moment with eyes that saw far more than she wanted him to. But before he could say another word, "Amber," her manager barked. "Table 3, you think we're running a charity here?" She flinched, muttered an apology to the man, and ran to deliver 2 plates of pancakes. For the next 4 hours, she moved like a machine, serving orders, pouring coffee, forcing smiles. But every time she passed the man's booth, she felt his gaze linger, not in a creepy way, but in a thoughtful, observant one. The diner grew quieter as the night deepened. A few truck drivers, a couple who argued in whispers, 2 teenagers pretending they weren't skipping curfew, ordinary people living ordinary lives. Amber longed to be home. She longed for warmth, for the smell of her mother's cinnamon cookies, for anything other than the harsh fluorescent lights pressing down on her. At 11:52 p.m., she finally untied her apron and hung it on the hook. The last customer had left. Snowflakes danced outside the window like falling stars. "Amber," her manager grunted, "don't be late tomorrow morning." She forced a smile. Wouldn't dream of it. He didn't notice the sarcasm. He never did. She stepped outside, and the cold slammed into her. She hugged her thin coat around herself, her breath forming little clouds. The street was nearly empty, quiet except for the distant sound of bells from a church choir. She took 1 step toward the bus stop. "Amber, wait." She stopped. That voice again. Turning, she saw the same man from inside walking toward her. The streetlights cast a warm glow over him, softening his sharp features. Up close, he looked even more out of place, too polished, too calm, too important. "You know my name?" she asked, startled. He smiled slightly. "You wear a name tag." "Oh," she blushed. He studied her face, the fatigue, the sadness she didn't manage to hide. "You shouldn't have to spend Christmas alone," he said quietly. Her heart clenched. How did he know? Then she remembered. The phone call. No, she said quickly, embarrassed. "I didn't mean for anyone to hear that." It's just life. It's not something a stranger has to worry about. He hesitated, hands in his pockets, as if debating something important. Then he extended a golden envelope. "What's this?" she asked, confused. "A Christmas gift, sir. I can't accept anything. It's not charity," he said gently. "Just something I hope will help." Before she could protest again, a sleek black car pulled up to the curb. The driver opened the back door. The man nodded to her once, warmly, sincerely, and slipped inside. The car drove off, leaving Amber standing under the falling snow, holding the mysterious envelope. She stared at it, her heart hammering. Who was that man? Why did he care? She didn't know yet that she had just spoken to Alexander Hale, the billionaire founder of Hale International, a man whose face was rarely seen, whose name carried power across cities, whose kindness was known only to those he chose to help. And tonight, he had chosen her. The envelope in her hand was the beginning. A beginning she never saw coming. Amber didn't open the envelope right away. She walked to the bus stop in a daze, clutching it in her frozen hands, staring at the shimmering gold paper beneath the streetlights. Her mind raced. Why would a stranger give her anything? Why would someone like him even notice her? What could possibly be inside? The bus arrived with a hiss, and she stumbled inside, half frozen and half confused. Her breath fogged the window as she sat down. The envelope lay on her lap like something too magical to touch. When she reached her small apartment, a single room with a creaky heater and peeling wallpaper, she finally sat on her bed and tore open the envelope with trembling fingers. A single sheet of thick, elegant paper slid out. Her eyes scanned the words once. Then again. Then a third time. Her breath caught in her chest. A round-trip airline ticket. Departure. Tomorrow morning at 8:15 a.m. Destination. Her mother's hometown. For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. A sound escaped her, a strangled, gasping laugh. "No way, no way, this isn't real," she whispered to herself. But it was real. The barcode, the airline seal, the reservation number, it was all there. Then she saw it, at the bottom, in handwritten ink. "Everyone deserves to go home for Christmas. A.H. Her heart dropped into her stomach. A.H. Alexander Hale. The man she'd seen on magazine covers, the man whose company owned half the skyscrapers in the city, the man who never did interviews because people said he hated publicity. That Alexander Hale, the billionaire who had sat quietly in a diner and listened to her cry on the phone. Amber pressed the ticket to her chest, overwhelmed. Her eyes stung with tears she'd been holding back all night. For the first time in years, something good, something unbelievably good, had happened for her. She packed right away, stuffing a few sweaters, her mother's favorite cookies, and the scarf her dad gave her before he passed. She barely slept. Her mind was too full, of disbelief, gratitude, and a strange fluttering hope she didn't have a name for. The airport. She arrived at the airport before sunrise. The sky was a pale blue, the world still quiet and sleepy. Amber stared at her ticket repeatedly, half expecting someone to stop her, to say it was a mistake. But no one did. The check-in agent scanned it and smiled kindly. "Have a lovely flight, miss." She almost cried again. On the plane, she pressed her forehead to the window as the engines roared to life. The city shrank beneath her, a glittering map of lights and memories. Her chest tightened with emotion as clouds swallowed them whole. For the first time in years, the tightness in her chest started to loosen. She was going home. Homecoming. The airport in her mother's town was small, only 2 gates, 1 bakery, and a tiny baggage claim with a crooked sign. Amber walked through the arrivals gate with her small bag, her heart pounding. Then she saw her mother, bundled in an oversized coat, holding a thermos, her face lighting up the moment their eyes met. "Amber, Mom." Amber ran into her mother's arms, burying her face in her shoulder like she used to when she was a child. Her mother smelled like cinnamon and old books, just like home. Her mother pulled back, touching her cheeks as if she couldn't believe she was real. "I thought you said, oh sweetheart, you came." Amber laughed through tears. "I know. I'm sorry, Mom. Someone help me." "Who?" Amber paused. She wasn't sure how to explain. "I don't know exactly," she admitted. "A man from the diner. He bought me a plane ticket." Her mother blinked. "A strange man bought you a ticket?" Amber. No, Amber interrupted quickly with a small smile. "He was kind, really kind." Her mother frowned but nodded slowly, trusting her daughter's instincts. They drove home through snowy streets lined with twinkling lights. Amber stared out the window, her heart warm. Kids built snowmen. Families carried Christmas trees inside. Everything felt peaceful, soft, right. When they reached the little house where she grew up, Amber almost burst into tears again. The wreath on the door was crooked, the lights flickered, and the porch steps creaked, but it was home. Inside, everything smelled like gingerbread and cocoa. The Christmas tree reached only to her shoulder, but it glittered with handmade ornaments, a paper star she made in 4th grade, the wooden angel her dad carved. Her mother noticed her staring. "Your father would be so happy to see you home, sweetheart," she whispered. Amber hugged her again. The message. Later that evening, after the Christmas meal, roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and far too many cookies, Amber lay on her childhood bed, staring at the ceiling. She couldn't shake him from her mind. The quiet man with the sincere eyes. The billionaire who pretended to be ordinary. The stranger who bought her a plane ticket home. She needed to thank him. She searched Alexander Hale official contact online and found an email for his executive office. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. After a deep breath, she typed, "Mr. Hale, you gave me something I thought I'd lost, Christmas with my mom. Your gift brought me home. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Amber Williams." She hit send before she could overthink it. Amber didn't expect a reply, not from a man whose emails probably went through 10 assistants before reaching him. But he replied in less than an hour. Her phone buzzed, and she opened the message with wide eyes. "Amber, I'm glad you made it safely. Family is important. You shouldn't have missed this holiday. If you're free after Christmas, I'd like to meet again, properly this time. Coffee, Alexander. Amber sat up, hand clamped over her mouth, her heart pounding. Coffee, not business, not a formality, a meeting, a choice, maybe even a beginning. Her mother knocked on the door. "Everything okay, sweetheart?" Amber smiled softly at her phone. "Yeah, Mom," she said. "More than okay." Outside the window, snow began to fall again, soft and shimmering like blessings from the sky. Amber looked at the message once more, her heart fluttering. Christmas miracles, she decided, were real. Because one had just changed her life.